In this episode of Approaching the Scene, we're going to talk about photographing kiteboarding in particular. I'm here in Aruba, and we're going to talk about photographing sports in action, some of the tips and tricks I use, whether it's wildlife, sports action, things where motion is the kind of foundational aspect of what you're photographing. So I'm Hudson Henry. I'm a Portland, Oregon-based photographer and photo educator, and Approaching the Scene is really a series of videos that I'm putting out every Thursday to just spark a conversation about photography. You know, I intend to share tips and tricks on capturing and editing images, as well as have conversations with other photographers about all things photographic and all the convergence that's happening with the technology. You know, from mirrorless versus DSLR to the convergence of video and time-lapse and the equipment that we're using, to what's happening in the marketplace for working photographers. And I'd love to take questions from all of you. So submit your questions at questions@hudsonhenry.com. You can email them to me at questions@hudsonhenry.com. You can also go to www.hudsonhenry.com/ATS for Approaching the Scene. So it's hudsonhenry.com.ATS or /ATS. And there you're going to also look in the training section. You'll find workshops that I'm leading. You'll find training materials, other video courses, all kinds of stuff. I hope you'll check it out. Let me know what you think and join the conversation. Submit those questions. So kiteboarding is the real reason that I'm here on this island, Aruba. It's sort of a place that's windy all the time, which appeals to me as a die-hard addicted kiteboarder. And I also love photographing kiteboarding. So this is one of the best places to do it. Before I jump in, share some tips and tricks about how I approach doing that. We're going to get to some of your questions. Okay, so the first question is from Jackie, and it's about using fluid heads in really cold conditions. She asks, have I used them in extreme cold temperature conditions, and is the fluid in the head that kind of makes the movement for video any kind of a problem in extremely cold temperatures, like minus 20 degrees Fahrenheit and colder? And I can say I haven't used the Manfrotto head that I carry all the time, the lightweight one that I recommend that's really affordable and I think kicks the butt of any ball head 4 times its price in super cold conditions. I've used it in pretty cold conditions in some ski trips and things. I've used it below freezing for sure, not down to -20. I can say that I've taken my Slrs FSB6 fluid head on a trip where I filmed a documentary on Denali, and we went all the way up, 20,000 feet, really freezing cold conditions up at the 17,000 foot camp, and never had a problem with it. So, I think that recommends the Slr. I'd say look around the web a little bit for other people with experiences with Manfrotto fluid heads. I wouldn't hesitate to say I think it's going to be fine. I don't think it's a fluid that freezes. You might email Manfrotto about it though. It's a curious question. The other question I have is from John, and he asks, why are you still using digital SLRs? It's 2018, get with the show right, get into the mirrorless game. I think if I was strictly landscaped focused, I'd shoot a lot of landscapes, I shoot a lot of panoramas. I'd be more prone to jump in on the mirrorless bandwagon, but there's 2 things kind of holding me back. One, there isn't a mirrorless body that I know of that's built as robust as the Nikon bodies that I carry. I go into some pretty extreme places. I shoot in blowing sand, 40-mile-an-hour winds with kiteboarding scenes, blowing salt water and seascapes up in the mountains in extremely cold temperatures, and I've never had a problem with a Nikon body. And I've heard a lot of horror stories about people with Sonys and Fujis and some others in really bad conditions. And I know that they've weather sealed the latest series of Sony bodies, but they're weather sealed light. They're not quite extremely weather sealed. The other thing is really fast moving action, and action that's moving right at you and further away and tracking that action. And I really do like to photograph wildlife and sports, which kind of is a segue into this. For me, I've tried the A7R III, I've tried the A6500, I use the A6500 quite a bit, and the autofocus leaves a little something to be desired for me with fast-moving subjects. And I think it says a lot that when you look at the Olympics or you look at a big sporting event, the Super Bowl, you look down on the sidelines, the pros that are shooting those are still using the optical autofocus and the Canons and the Nikons by and large. So, if I didn't shoot action, I'd be a lot more inclined. But at this point, I think they got a little ways to go. Now, I'm curious about what Nikon's doing with the latest one, and I'm sure I'm going to check it out. But I don't see it dislodging my Nikon D850 or my D500 anytime soon. So I just want to talk really quickly, down and dirty. Aruba is an amazing place for kiteboarding. I actually found a little sheltered spot, but it's just been consistently windy the whole week that I've been here. And it's one of the best places I've ever found to photograph kiteboarding. You know, I've come to this side of the island because the sun sets right here in the west, just kind of off to the camera right. And the wind blows offshore, but it's really shallow, and people kite out here even though they have to kind of ride upwind to get back to shore. And there are some really good kiteboarders there. And what that equals is people that'll come right into the shore and boost jumps and do tricks and maneuvers right in front of your camera because the wind's gonna take them out to sea, and you've got the sun setting as the background. So I've had a lot of fun the last few nights photographing some great kiteboarders here. And I want to talk a little bit about the camera settings that I use. I know, a lot of instructors talk about manual everything, manual exposure, not necessarily manual focus for sports and action, but manual exposure. And I approach it a little bit differently. With the modern cameras, whether you're using a mirrorless, whether you're using a newer Nikon or Canon, I tend to put it in shutter priority mode. What's important to me is freezing that action when I want to freeze it, or blurring that action when I want to blur it. And there's no set, tried and true speed for any particular thing. If you're photographing Indy cars going by at 200 miles an hour, you want 4,000th of a second. When I'm shooting kiteboarders throwing jumps in front of me, I'd like 1,500th of a second or faster. Same with birds in flight for a wildlife photographer. It's all a little bit different. You experiment, you look at the back of the camera, you zoom in, you see if you're freezing the motion when you want to freeze it. Blurring the motion, same thing. A slower sport, maybe 1/10 of a second. A faster sport, maybe 100th of a second. You want to blur the background with the subject sort of in focus. It's the kind of thing that I definitely am always in shutter priority when I'm photographing motion, and when the shutter speed is what's really going to capture that motion. Freeze it or blur it. And I love to run auto ISO with the new camera, so you can just set limits. So with this Nikon D500, which fires 10 frames a second, I put it in shutter priority. I go into my ISO and set the limit at about 6400 ISO. I'm actually pretty happy with images out of this with some noise reduction at 6400 ISO. I don't know that I'd print them 24 by 36, but certainly for sharing on the web and printing up to 13 by 19, I think you can get a great image at 6400 ISO with this. And then that lets me just really focus on what's happening in front of me and let the camera make exposure decisions. It lets it keep that shutter speed where I want it and fluctuate aperture and ISO to achieve that. It's just magical compared to the days when I used to shoot film. The ability to really work with low light and fast moving subjects is just gone crazy. Or in a scene like this where the sun is setting right off here to my left, kiteboarders are coming by. In some scenes, I'm shooting directly into the sun. There's no way I would be controlling that with manual focus. I just want to be focused on the action, focused on my composition, focused on keeping the action in the frame and in focus with the autofocus system. Speaking of which, for autofocus, I always use my thumb on the back button. I program the autofocus so that it's not on the shutter button, no matter what type of photography I'm doing. And I just leave it in continuous autofocus all the time. If I want it to stop autofocusing, all I have to do is take my thumb off the button. So I tend to choose one point that I want to catch my subject with, hit that autofocus button so that it's tracking. For Nikon users, I leave it in a dynamic mode. All the cameras have something similar where it'll pass that subject around through the different points that you want to have it in, so that if it moves off the point that you have it focused on, the other points will catch it and keep it in focus. It recognizes that subject. Let the electronics work for you in the camera. So autofocus, single point, dynamic, and so that it's moving around between them. I leave it on continuous autofocus so that it doesn't freeze the focus when it's caught. And I just use my thumb to regulate whether I want to be focusing or not with the back button. To me, focusing should be one button, firing the shutter should be another, so I never put those on the same button. And the other thing is, the modern lenses, vibration reduction, some bodies have vibration reduction built in, really is going to help you with hand holding at slower shutter speeds. Not necessarily such a big deal if you're using a 1/1500th of a second, but if you're going to blur motion and use a slower shutter speed, your handshake will be far less influential on whether that shot can have a crisp subject with a blurred background. So that's it for shooting sports in action. The sun is setting. I think it's time to go get a beer and get ready for some more kiteboarding tomorrow. Hey, thanks so much for watching this entire video front to back. If you want to join the conversation, submit a question. You can go to www.hudsonhenry.com/ATS. You can also email a question to me at questions@hudsonhenry.com. I really, really appreciate those questions. You can attach a file if you want to talk about a specific image. I really want this to be a conversation, and I really want you to be involved. Oh, and don't forget, check out all the training materials that are on my website when you're there at hudsonhenry.com. Look, you'll find workshops, presets, training tutorials, videos. It's a growing library of stuff I hope you'll check out. And don't forget to click subscribe and check out the other videos in this series.